English Planet. Appunti di inglese, a cura di Nicholas Youldon.
Good evening and welcome back to English Planet, the program on Radio Dreamland that offers help and hope to anyone who wants to improve their ability to communicate in English. I'm your teacher, Nick Youldon, and I came from the land of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table to teach English to Italians. This evening I want to experiment. I will speak only in English. Usually I speak in Italian in the first part of the lesson to help. But now I think many of you can be successful if I speak in English. Don't worry, you can do it. I will speak slowly in any case. Shall we experiment to learn better? In the previous lessons, I analyzed verbs to understand how they function in the past, present, and future. In this lesson, I want to focus on individual words to see how they function. Recently, a good friend of mine said, "English has too many words." He's right, in fact, but part of the problem is that there are too many people in the world who speak English and want to use their own words or invent words. As an example, let's look at the word blog. Blog is a new word in the English language. It's also entered into the Italian language. But where did it come from? In fact, it's very similar to the word burger, which has also been commonly accepted by the Italian language. Blog is a word invented by the modern generation using the word of computers and internet. Blog is effectively a composed word of two separate words, web and log. Web can be translated into the Italian word ragnatela in general, but specifically it refers obviously modern times to the World Wide Web, the Internet. So what is a log? One meaning of the word log is a sort of diary, a record of historical events kept day by day. It comes from nautical terms, from sailing and ships, where the log is a record of what the ship and its crew have been experiencing over time. Translated into Italian, log means diario di bordo. As with many English words, log has an alternative meaning. The same word, the same spelling, but it means ceppo di legno, if you look it up in a dictionary. Context and situation always clarify any confusion between one word with two different meanings. In the case of blog, the explanation is web log, un diario su internet. And when we write a blog on our computer, what we are writing is a diary, un diario. Why has the word become blog and not weblog? Because the young generation of computer freaks is always in a hurry and they always want abbreviations. Weblog is too long. Blog is short. This is one example of what happens to words in the English language. Now let's look at a couple of problems with the use of words. Firstly, you need to have a flexible, open approach to using words in English. Because words change, they play tricks. You have to make good use of your memory, and you have to pay close attention to context and situation of the language you're using. For example, if I say the word pear, there are three distinct and different possibilities for interpretation. Pear can be P-E-A-R, an example of fruit, or it can be P-A-I-R, meaning in Italian copia, or it can be P-A-R-E, in Italian sbocciare, pelare, oppure tagliare le spese, ad esempio, in senso economico. As you can see, these words are totally different, but when I say them, they are the same word. There is no difference in pronunciation. When you try to pronounce them or say them, you cannot invent a different pronunciation. They are identical in pronunciation. As I say, the context will usually 99% of times resolve the problem for you. But if you're interested in a little game, I'll give you an example. I say, we must pair a pair of pears from our shopping list because we only have 10 euros. Think about that for a moment and see if you can interpret it. You can use a dictionary if you like. I repeat, we must pair a pair of pears from our shopping list because we only have 10 euros. Settimana enigmistica, mind games. But this can also help you linguistically because speaking using other languages, it's very important to have a flexible memory, a flexible mind. Remember also the importance of the English alphabet. This is something which is very often overlooked by Italian students. But since we have a lot of confusion in English with words and pronunciation and spelling, the alphabet is fundamentally important for understanding. I know it sounds stupid, baby exercises, children's language, but it's not like that. Italians have difficulty using the English alphabet because there are coincidences with pronunciation of different letters. Practice it, please. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. Try to repeat these frequently, particularly the first part. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Listen again to the three pronunciations I gave for the word pear and see if you can write them in the way that I spelt them. Check with your dictionaries. English speakers and American speakers spend their whole lives, starting from elementary school, doing spelling. That means repeating the alphabet. Italians in particular should focus on the 5 vowel sounds, cioè I vocali in English, which are A, E, I, O, U. Repeat, A, E, I, O, U. This is in Italian, A, E, I, O, U. A, E, I, O, U. I say this particularly because I know it causes a lot of confusion for Italian speakers into English with spelling and therefore frequently with comprehension. Another, let's say, complication with English words is that they are frequently multitasking. That means that what you may understand to be a noun can also be a verb or an adjective without any special changes to the form of the word itself. Take the word plan, for example. Plan is piano in Italian. We can say we have agreed a plan to go on holiday together. Abbiamo fatto un accordo su un piano per andare insieme in vacanza. We have agreed a plan to go on holiday together. But we can also say we plan to go on holiday together, or we are planning to go on holiday together, where plan is a verb. The same concept occurs in Italian, where you have the noun piano and the verb pianificare. But the situation is clear in Italian because the word changes from piano to pianificare. In English, the word doesn't necessarily change. Plan noun, plan verb. It depends exactly on the context. This English system is a linguistic simplification, but when you're listening or hearing English, it may be difficult to understand immediately. A very large number of English nouns, sostantivi, can be used quite simply as verbs. Example 1. I am reading a book. I want to book my holiday. Sto leggendo un libro, oppure voglio prenotare mia vacanza. Let's look at the word water. I want to drink a glass of water. Voglio bere un bicchiere d'acqua. I need to water my garden. Io devo annaffiare il mio giardino. When I cut onions, my eyes water. Quando taglio delle cipolle, i miei occhi lacrimano. Here we are using always the word water. Another example. I use a pen to write a book. Uso una penna per scrivere un libro. I would like to pen a famous novel to make some money. Vorrei sapere scrivere un romanzo famoso per guadagnare dei soldi. What about a ship? A noun, surely. He shipped his new car to the United States. What could that possibly mean? What about a house? This museum houses the biggest collection of crystal skulls in the world. What could that possibly mean? I could continue all night, but the concept is clear. English words are multitasking. They can perform different functions with little or no change. Let's put two nouns together and see what happens. A milk bottle is different from a wine bottle or a beer bottle or a water bottle. A milk bottle is a bottle, sostantivo, that contains milk, sostantivo. A beer bottle is a bottle, sostantivo, that contains beer, sostantivo. But in these examples, milk and beer do not function as nouns, they function as adjectives because they describe the bottle. They are adjectives because they describe, therefore they are placed before the noun. Milk, bottle, beer, bottle, water, bottle. For many people, a whiskey bottle is more important and more interesting than a milk bottle. And if those two different bottles are on the table in front of me, I have to communicate to you which one I want. Give me the whiskey bottle, please. Maybe a drop of whiskey will help us to understand English words better and how we use them. For now, it's time to take a short break for some advertising. Stay tuned, I'll be right back with you and we can have a little chat in English. See you soon.
Meditazione planetaria del martedì. Radio Dreamland si unisce all'iniziativa della meditazione planetaria del martedì sera, organizzata dal New Earth Circle. Ogni martedì sera, alle 21, vi invitiamo a partecipare alla meditazione planetaria dedicata a Madre Terra e a tutti i suoi figli di qualsiasi specie. Ognuno può unirsi al cerchio planetario dei meditanti partecipando da soli o con i propri cari, per una testimonianza di pace e di spiritualità che abbracci tutto il pianeta, per un atto d'amore verso Madre Terra, per un mondo antispecista. Unitevi con noi in meditazione, seguendo la Nassinar, la musica del vuoto eseguita al flauto da Giancarlo Barbadoro. Ogni martedì alle 21. Per informazioni www.newearthcircle.org. Radio Dreamland. Share the vision.
Okay, thanks for staying tuned to Radio Dreamland. We're back in the studio. This is the program English Planet. For the next 10 or 15 minutes, I would just like to have a sort of little chat. I don't like to think this is a monologue because I'm on the radio, but I like to think I'm having a dialogue with the listeners out there. Even if I can't see anyone, there must be someone. I imagine they're listening and interacting with me and maybe answering my comments or my questions. As we know, all the programs here on Radio Dreamland are focused on aspects of the eco-spiritual approach to life. Meaning not just that someone is bio or interested in the environment, but that they're interested in aspects of the environment which go into the spiritual situation and also into the global situation of how humans, how our planet interacts within the universe beyond. In line with this approach, I just wanted to focus for a few minutes here on the role of music within our lives. This idea has been stimulated within me recently, moving around, by various events and various occurrences, experiences which I have gone through. In a negative sense, for example, I have noticed recently, maybe increasingly, on visits to supermarkets or hypermarkets, probably added to by discomfort about wearing a face mask while you're doing your shopping, which is not a pleasant experience for me. But at the same time, I noticed that there is this horrible, I would describe it as horrible, permanent background music which is imposed upon us. And I noticed the last time I was in the supermarket that it does seem to be particularly uninteresting, boring and frankly terrible music. So much so that I ask myself, can't they turn this music off, or can't they play music which may be a bit more acceptable even to the majority of people? I know, in a realistic way, I know that supermarkets, since they existed, have used background music as a psychological force against or to involve their customers and convince them to make certain purchases, to buy certain things, for example. But the music at the moment does seem to be so negative that I don't know if anyone is encouraged to buy anything. I feel it's more likely to cause a serious headache and chase people out of the supermarket. I don't even want to name any particular supermarket because it seems to me that they are all the same. Turning to the positive side, it seems it's been suggested by various different scientific reports I've been reading in this week. It seems that the music of nature, in particular the song of bird song, has a positive effect, a beneficial effect on people. Researchers at King's College University London have developed a smartphone app which can register, monitor and record people's reactions to meeting, to encountering, to nature and the presence of birds, in particular bird song. Using this app, the researchers have discovered that people living in cities but coming into contact with nature and birds in parks and green areas actually do feel a beneficial effect. Even short exposure to nature and birds can cause an effect which will last for several hours. According to these researchers, the effect comes from contact with birds, trees and the sky. Another research report prepared by people at the University of Exeter, by coincidence the city where I was born, together with the British Ornithological Society and the University of Queensland, Australia, also indicated that watching, in this case they spoke about watching birds from your window, which has a beneficial effect on people. Apparently not necessarily just one, but the more birds people can observe from the window, the better they feel. They speak specifically about reducing stress and relieving depression or anxiety. Personally speaking, in terms of research, yes, I don't think that these people have made a particularly new discovery. It seems obvious to me that you feel better when you see and hear birds. But what they're saying in this research is that the results are measurable, demonstrable, and that this type of research can have a real effect. It can be used to actually make some improvements in people's lives in these terms. At the very least, it indicates improved awareness and should encourage people to defend the existence and help the continued existence of birds in our lives, rather than the current tendency to destroy the birds in our lives, either through hunting or destruction of habitat. Speaking on a purely personal level, I take great satisfaction from hearing bird song. I may be a little crazy, but I even try to respond when I hear birds whistling in a tree. I make my own whistle and see if they continue to respond to me. It's also a strange fact that when you walk around, maybe in a wood or a park, you don't immediately hear the birds. But you have to stop, concentrate, reflect, and wait to hear them, which is a form of stress release, because you're not lost in your everyday thoughts of everyday life, but you're reflecting on something which is different, something which is also actually beneficial. If you like, it's a form of meditation. On the subject of meditation, these research reports were speaking strictly about mental benefits, for example. But we know here on Radio Dreamland that for example, Giancarlo Barbadoro introduced to the people of Piedmont music for meditation known as Nas Sinar, which is a European Druid form of music and has a very particular quality. The music of Giancarlo Babadoro has in fact been analysed by university experts here in Turin and demonstrated, found to have a positive psychological effect on people. If you want to try this out for yourself, there is the ideal opportunity tomorrow evening at 9 o'clock with the planet-wide Tuesday meditation, which is publicized on the website echo-spirituality.org or through Facebook on the New Earth Circle page of Facebook. By coincidence, you may have heard this advertising in the short break between the two parts of this lesson 5, 6, 10 minutes ago. Now I want to focus just for a few moments on a little or possibly big mystery which I have come across concerning music. I came across this some time ago, but also this week I've been looking into the same mystery. This mystery involves the frequency involved in music, the frequency to which all music is tuned scientifically. This frequency story is connected or is at the center of a sort of a great conspiracy debate about whether there is a deliberate manipulation of the frequency of music or whether there is just a musical coincidence about which particular frequency is used for tuning music and musical instruments in particular. It seems that the music industry worldwide and in general set a standard frequency for tuning music and musical instruments, which was set at the figure of 440 Hertz. That means obviously cycles per second in terms of vibration. Setting this standard means scientifically that an instrument, a piano for example, made in Japan and played in Japan will sound exactly the same as a piano made and played in London. A violin made and played in San Francisco will sound exactly the same as a violin made and played in Moscow. This standard and this frequency was only set recently in the middle of the last century, and the big question in the debate is why was that particular frequency chosen as a standard? Music over the centuries, musical instruments over the centuries have always been variable in terms of this frequency, allowing for questions of taste and individual pleasure, for example. I'm not a professional musician, but I am an interested observer once I begin to read about the debate. The argument seems to be that a certain number of people are saying that a different frequency, for example, a well-known frequency of 432 Hertz, is accepted by many people as being a natural frequency for music, something which will give a good feeling to people, for example, gives a pleasurable effect on the minds of people, on the ears of people. In simple terms, the theory would be that music at this lower frequency, there's not a big difference between the frequencies, but there is, for these people, a significant difference in terms of pleasure and well-being. These same objectors hold the line that the higher frequency of 440 Hertz has a negative effect on people. It makes them feel less tranquil, less peaceful, and more aggressive and more stressed. As I say, it is not really clear exactly why the 440 Hz was chosen as the international worldwide standard, but it does seem that the argument for the lower frequency has been supported through the centuries, going back as far, example, as Giuseppe Verdi in Italy, who was arguing with the Italian government to introduce or accept the lower frequency for all music produced, all instruments used within the Italian Republic. I repeat that I am not a professional musician and I have never been subjected to any experiments, but it would seem that people have been subjected to experiments, listening to the same piece of music produced at 440 Hz and then produced also at 432 Hz. And those people in the experiment reported that they preferred the music at the lower frequency, 432 Hz. They felt the music was more pleasant, warmer, better, easier to listen to in some way. So we have a large and important mystery concerning the correct frequency for the music we are listening to. I really don't know the exact ins and outs, the resolution to the mystery, but on a personal level I do know that music plays a fundamental part in my life and always has done from the time when I was a little boy until what I am now. I am also aware of the pleasure of listening to bird song. And I sincerely hope that I will continue to be able to listen to birdsong, and so will the rest of the world, as long as birds are not totally eliminated by human activity. These are my reflections on the theme of music. I hope you share them with me. That's all I have for now. Time is up. So I'd like to thank you for listening. I wish you a good evening, a wonderful evening, and I hope you'll tune in again next week to Radio Dreamland English Planet. Don't forget to share the vision, and I hope also share the music. Thank you and good night.